Donald Trump is so, to say he's full of himself is besides the point, right? It's an understatement. I'm trying to find his most recent tweet. But basically, he was saying about Ed Gillespie. The problem with Ed Gillespie is that Ed Gillespie just didn't embrace Trumpism enough. Ed Gillespie tried to walk the line, and basically Ed Gillespie wasn't a bigot enough, right? Because that's really, I mean, is there anybody confused about the fact that Donald Trump's entire existence is to pander as a politician, is to pander to bigots in America and to pander to white supremacists in America? I just want to make sure that we're all clear on that. And so by him saying this about Ed Gillespie, this is what he said, quote, Ed Gillespie worked hard, but did not embrace me or what I stand for. Don't forget, blah, 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 blah. No, he did. He did embrace you. He just didn't embrace your name because he tried to pander to, this is what Ed Gillespie tried in Virginia. He tried to pander to racism, to the Confederacy, and to the anti-immigrant community. He tried to pander to all those without entirely taking on Donald Trump's name. And the problem is that you can't uphold Donald Trump's policies and not carry the stench, the smell, the stain of Donald Trump. It's on you. It's like you get. I can't use that. I can't use that analogy. I can't use that. That's too gross. But basically, his smell is all over you. You know, you don't get to parrot Donald Trump's talking points and not say his name and not expect the rest of America to be like, or at least the rest of Virginia in your case, to look at you and say, what's that I smell? I smell a bigot. And that's exactly what we smell with Ed Gillespie. I'm a little extra tonight, I will admit. Just celebrating, just having a good time. All right, let's take a listen to this. Let's take a listen to this ad. This is an ad by Ed Gillespie, and this is Ed Gillespie. This is what he ran on, man. This is what I think people are missing. When people so easily dismiss the importance of this campaign and the importance of this election and the importance of getting someone, pardon me, quite frankly, like Ralph Northam, even though he is not what we want in its entirety, he is not Ed Gillespie, and that matters. And I promise you, the next person who says there's no such thing as a greater evil, actually, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to publish this next episode of Political Horror Stories, because there absolutely is a thing called the greater evil, and we're living in it right now. If you don't think that the things that they're trying, the only reason, my friends, the only reason we are not living in the absolute worst of times right now, it's because Republicans are too incompetent to actually legislate and govern. If they had been more competent, they could have passed a repeal to Obamacare, leaving, between 26 and 36, depending on which version, million people without health care coverage, all to satisfy their desire to get back at Donald Trump, get back at Barack Obama, one, and then their desire to dismantle any notion of a safety net. They've been trying to undo the New Deal since the New Deal came into play, right? And if Republicans were at all efficient instead of being incompetent, they would have accomplished that. And they would have set us back for an entire generation. They're still trying to set us back for an entire generation. So anybody who's still talking about there's no such thing as a lesser evil, you, my friend, are the greater evil. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. You are the greater evil if you're still sitting around right now suggesting that there's no such thing as a greater evil or a lesser evil. I want you to listen to this MS-13 ad in which Ed Gillespie is trying to say that, Ralph Northam, what he really wanted, it was MS-13 to take over because, sanctuary cities are, the boogeyman. Listen in.
MS MS-13 appears to be surging again.
The dangerous street gang, MS-13, are responsible for the recent murder in Bedford County.
Those crimes have been increasing around our region.
MS-13 is a menace. Yet Ralph Northam voted in favor of sanctuary cities that let dangerous illegal immigrants back on the street, increasing the threat of MS-13. Ralph Northam's policies are dangerous.
I'm Ed Gillespie, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad for a safer, stronger Virginia.
All right, so that's him. That's one. I want to play one more. The other one I want to play is the one where he's talking about the monuments. The monuments. And he's saying that the defining factor, the defining feature that separates me from Ralph Northam are the Confederate monuments.
For governor, there's a clear choice. Ralph Northam wants to take down Virginia's Civil War monuments.
I will do everything that I can to remove the statues at the state level,
Ralph Northam will take our statues down. Ed Gillespie will preserve them.
I'm for keeping them up, and he's for taking them down. And that's a big difference in November.
On November 7th, vote Ed Gillespie for governor.
I'm Ed Gillespie, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
Well, you're not candidate anymore. You lost, unless there's something miraculous that happens. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, I'm paranoid like that. Let me check my messages here. I'll make sure that it's an official confirmation, because the last thing I need to do is be sitting on this show rejoicing and celebrating, and then something crazy happens. Okay, it's official. There you go. All right, so good. We're good to go. So that's Ed Gillespie. He's literally saying what matters in this election was keeping up the monuments. Donald Trump parroted that same thing. He put out, it was like Ed Gillespie's going to be able to save, he's going to protect our monuments / heritage. Like, you know, here's the thing that I talked about on my show before. A lot of people have a difficult time connecting Donald Trump to his white supremacy. They do. And you know why? Because for so long in America, we never connected white supremacy with wealth, right? We never connected directly to the wealth. And Donald Trump being rich actually helps cover him for being the racist son of a bigot that he is. And the fact of the matter is that he just simply, he's playing to this card. He's playing to this base. He gets his biggest support from Daily Stormer, from the Daily Call, well, not Daily, well, Daily Caller too, right? He gets support from these organizations, from the alt-right, from Richard Spencer's of the world. This is what drives him. And there's no amount of wealth that can cover up the amount of bigotry that exudes, that comes, it just drips out of his, you know, his mouth on every single day. He's drenched with bigotry and white supremacy. And a lot of people have a hard time connecting that with him, and they oversimplify it. Some people, you know, oversimplify it, but they miss the forest for the trees. Donald Trump, at his core, is the white supremacist in chief in the United States. And so when he lifted up Ed Gillespie, based on some very specific things. And one of those things was about protecting the monuments / heritage. And so everybody tonight, which is glorious, it is a glorious night. They're, you know, Ed Gillespie's camp is blaming Donald Trump. Donald Trump is blaming Ed Gillespie.